Throughout most of our lives, we're told by some of the most arrogant people, the most conceited, the most deceived people to remain humble. We're all winners here. Everybody gets a participation trophy. All that BS. And really, what we have to do as godly people is not let our godly confidence be watered down by these people that don't want to see us rise and that don't want to see us fly into our full strength, our full potential, our full ambition. They don't want us to have that hunger, that drive to continue and to thrive. There's this whole thing that you could say about wanting people to stay humble and keep your ego small. And I'm not saying that you need to think of yourself as the next best thing since sliced bread. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying that you've got to have some belief in yourself. If you don't have belief in yourself, it's going to be very hard for you to continue further. Do you guys not think that I've experienced times where I had doubts about what I was doing or what I was thinking? Of course. Of course. Everybody that hasn't had those kinds of doubts is lying to you. Okay? Everybody has had those kinds of doubts. But you got to keep fighting. You've got to keep moving forward. You've got to keep striving. Else you're quitting on yourself. And if you quit on yourself, then you're going to allow these people that are wicked, that are not wanting to see you rise and fly, you're going to allow them to dictate how you can live your life subconsciously. You're not even going to be conscious of it. Now, with that being said, I want to take a quick break here to just remind everybody of the group sessions coming up. We have the group Q&A on the 7 deadly sins this weekend for all males, and then next weekend for males and females. And if you want to learn about more of that event coming up and those events, click in the link in the description box below for Regal Change Academy. Regal Change Academy is a vision that I have to hopefully provide people with the ability to discern and to learn more about who they are themselves spiritually and mentally, emotionally, and physically. This is going to be an endeavor in which hopefully everybody becomes a savant of their own spiritual self. That's really the goal. But in order to not only have the spiritual, you must have the intellectual, you must have the emotional, and you must be able to have that scholarly side that allows you to thrive in a certain way. Now, with that being said, we'll go back to the topic here. Now, part of the reason I wanted to do this topic is because it seems to me that one of the clearest ways to madness right now is not knowing how to defend yourself against manipulation and why people are becoming intimidated by you. Like they're seeing you, they're spying on you. It's like you can tell that they're watching you, but they don't really want you to know that they're watching you. And sometimes they're not shy about it. Sometimes they're just really not shy. And it's really strange because if you don't know how to defend yourself spiritually and stand up for yourself in these kinds of situations where you might be tested, then it's going to be very difficult for you to level up in your own life. And I know what that's like. I know what it's like to live a life where you don't know how to defend yourself. You don't know how to stand up for yourself. You don't know how to see through the manipulation and act in a certain way that allows you to transcend those things. Now, one way that you can defend yourself against manipulation is always keeping yourself at your mental point of origin. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean to say that you should keep your ego like super huge and all that. I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that you should have so much humbleness and humility that you deprive yourself of what you desire. I'm reminded of kind of a funny thing. I'm reminded of this orangutan video. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this orangutan, if you look it up, just orangutan demands food. If you look this up, you'll see this orangutan just standing like this, demanding food from this person with so much like dignity, charisma, and yet power. Like this orangutan had so much charisma and so much power in its stance, and just the way it showed its decisiveness and assertiveness. Because this is another thing that people are going to be frightened of and intimidated about you, is when you are assertive in a certain way. People can be intimidated by your godly confidence. And yeah, sometimes it's not like you want to tone it down around people. It's not like you want to not be yourself, because that's really what it feels like when you have to really, I call it like acting like the zombies. If you have to keep acting like the other zombies in order to just fit in so you can get from point A to point B, then that's what it's going to be. But sometimes you just have to be your full self and demand what it is and claim it what it is that you know that you want and you know that you desire. And you're not going to be doing this in an arrogant way. You're not going to be doing this in a way that is going to hurt anybody else. But like this orangutan, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Is it orangutan? Is it orangutan? Anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. It's the orange monkey that looks like an ape. I guess it is an ape. Anyway, the point is that this ape, this being, had more charisma and more self-assurance than most of the humans I've ever interacted with. And if you see the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like it was legit. This person, it was a person. Like I look at this orangutan and I think that's a person. Like that's someone that has a soul. Like even in its eyes, you can see there's wisdom, there's life. And sometimes there's more wisdom than some of the people I see around. Like there's more wisdom in these eyes of the orangutan than some of the people. And most oftentimes it's because people are just so plugged into the matrix, and people are so plugged into the program. They don't know what it's like to learn. They don't know what it's like to have this continual learning mindset. And a lot of the times, well, this is one of the reasons why I'm starting the Regal Change Academy and doing these group sessions, is because we need a place where we can come together as people. Like, I don't think people realize how sad and how intellectually insufficient our education system really is. Like we are being failed to a large degree. And it's not just like people in the university. It's kindergartners, it's middle schoolers, it's high schoolers. We're failing ourselves. I don't know about you guys, but in a way I feel like I've failed, even though like I graduated from a university and I went to college and I did these things. I have these certain accomplishments, but in a way I still feel like I failed myself. I could have lived up to more of my potential in those years than I did. And it's not because I didn't try. I sure as hell tried. I did the best I could with what knowledge I had, but I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have that knowledge that I was so seeking and desiring. And you could tell when you're listening to these professors, and I don't want to call out like too many professors here because I do have respect for some of them, but by golly, like most of them, I felt as though I knew more than. And I didn't come from a place of arrogance with this. I didn't come from a place of like, I know, like I'm better than you. That's not what I was thinking. I was just thinking to myself, like, I could teach this class. Like I may not understand the material to the depth I need to right now, but I guarantee once I read the material, I'll be able to teach this class. And this just goes to show how poverty-stricken the education system really is. Who knows how many people that are watching this right now that maybe didn't go to college or that are in college right now or that have went to college. Who knows how many people watching this video had to be stifled in their growth because the other people couldn't keep up. How pathetic is that? How stupid is that? You know, that's the other thing, like this No Child Left Behind, that whole shebang like 20 years ago. That, ideally, sure. But how many potential geniuses out there were stifled? How many people were there, like Elon Musk or Jordan Peterson, that were out there? How many inventors? How many Teslas out there? How many Nikola Teslas out there? How many Friedrich Nietzsche's were out there? How many Carl Jungs were out there? And yet, because of the way that our system of government and our system of education is set up, we failed these people. We failed these children. And so that's why in this video, what I'm saying to you is, do not water down yourself for the sake of other people's incompetence. In fact, here's something to say. Do get out of our way. You people that are ignorant, talking about your Netflix movies and your TV shows and, ooh, I'm liking this show now. Oh, I like this movie now. Good for you. We're going to be out here building our lives to create a better version of ourselves and for the people around us. And we're going to create a world that is worth living in. We're going to create a world that is actually striving to be a multiplanetary government or system and species. And we're going to think about these things critically. We're going to take these things seriously. Because we're there. We're there. How many Albert Einsteins were out there too? Like, it's just crazy to me how many people that we've failed because they just didn't have the knowledge. And all of these professors that think they have the knowledge, or all these teachers that think they have the knowledge, are really just trying to make copies of themselves. They're not trying to they're not trying to help you create yourself into your own person. Not all the time. There's a few professors that were good for me that I really appreciate and that I still have contact with to this day. But for the most part, no. They wanted you to regurgitate information. And most of the people out there just want you to regurgitate information. They want you to just be like a zombie. They want you to be just like everybody else. You know, we all win here. It's madness. And you know what? The best thing about my consultations that I've done in all of these group sessions that I'm starting, and all the comments that I've seen for people that have been here for months, showing their support, the people that have donated to this channel, the people that we've just been in contact with in some way, shape, or form. You know how cool it is for me to sit back and see your growth? It's a blessing. It's a gift to see these people out here really trying to make their lives better and taking the actions to do so, and then they get their results. That's what this life is all about. Putting your heart and your soul into everything that you do, even if you think it might fail. Because it's better to fail and to learn from that failure than it is to never frickin' try. And when I see the people that are actually growing, that's amazing. And they're growing into their own person. This is not a place where I tell you that this is the one and only truth. I'm not that kind of person. I may say things that are challenging to your beliefs or your ideas or your thoughts, but I'm not here to tell you how you have to live your life. I'm telling you how you could live your life. And I know from experience, just by the way that I've been living my life, that it's made my life 100 times better. To really commit myself to following Christ. If you told me that like 3 years ago, I don't know what I would have said, but that wasn't when I was following Christ. Like I was still very spiritual, but I was not fully in the truth at that time. I was not in my godly confidence that Christ was able to grant me when I actually came into the truth through the Holy Spirit. And it sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to the person that is not that has not had a direct experience or confrontation with the divine infinite. It sounds like a bunch of hocus pocus. I understand that. But when you experience it, it changes everything. It changes your whole view of life. I cannot even fathom the numinous ways, the abundance of numinous ways that Christ has given me a new perspective to look at life. I cannot say how many times God has shown me his glory. And in the Bible it says something along the lines that blessed are those that are poor in spirit, for they will see the kingdom of God. Something along those lines. It's in Matthew 6. It's the Sermon on the Mount. It's that. And I never understood it until I felt it. I really felt it. And a lot of the times people don't really, at least from what I can tell and from my experience, a lot of the times there are so many people that are stuck in these like hyper religious households that are abusively religious. They're full of religious spirits. They're not full of the truth. They're full of religion, dogmatism. It's not opening. It's not releasing it. There's no true compassion. It's think this way or else. That's not what we're doing on this channel either. We're not going to do that. You're welcome to join and you're welcome to leave. If this message resonates with you and it edifies you, fantastic. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here to try to do. I'm a teacher. I never wanted to think of myself as a teacher for quite some time because I didn't think that like I was worthy of it. I truly didn't. I truly didn't think I was worthy of being the person I am today. If like 3 years ago, I would have, I didn't want to answer that call. And the reason I didn't want to answer that call was because I had so much self-doubt. Almost, it was like, this sounds super weird, but it was like I was psychologically getting myself off on other things that didn't really matter. That I didn't want to put my actual energy into the things that I needed to at that time. And I was even like, and I wasn't even that bad. Like I wasn't even like, I've always been a fairly driven person, just not in certain ways. Like 3 years ago, when I was nearly 200 pounds, that's what I'm talking about. And now that I've lost the weight, I've put in the work, I'm in the best shape of my life, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. I've taken myself seriously. I've gotten my priorities straight. I know where I'm going. I'm going to the promised land, and I want to take as many people as I can with me. So are you with me? If you're with me, let me know in the comments. Let's go. We have a job to do. And with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. Until next time, peace be with you.